Welcome to Madtalks once again. In a marketing world, there are two types of people. Those who follow trends and one are those who really creates them. The second one are the people who we need a lot, and there are very few. We are lucky to have someone who is known in this market for creating trends with his design, with his creative thinking, and someone who has been in this industry for a while. He's someone who has created a lot of brands. He's someone who has created various trends. He's someone who is still very relevant in this market, even after long years. Welcome to Madtalks, Faraz Maqsood Hamidi.
Thank you,
We are
Saad.
so lucky to have you today.
Oh, come on. It's a pleasure. And it's been a long time coming, I think.
Yeah,
We've waited for this for a while.
Yeah, we have been waiting for this for a while.
But we made it. So thank you. Thank you so much.
So, Faraz, I'll be, asking a lot of questions to you, and I have a lot of things to ask. But,
Yes.
we are with limited time, and we have to follow some protocol.
Sure.
So, Faraz, tell me one thing. You are known in this market. Someone who says, if we say, okay, Pakistan is getting rebranded, would be the first top of mind, a person name that comes to anyone's mind? People will say that's Faraz. You have done a lot of things for the government sector. You have done a lot of things for the commercial sector. You must be doing it from your early time. What was the first time you realized that you think different from the people?
Different from the pack?
Yeah.
I think the realization, it dawns on you because I come from a family of bankers. So I always thought that I'd probably end up working in finance, like my uncle or my brother and whatever. But I knew, I think somewhere in my teens, that the last thing I want to do is to wear a suit and a tie. That started it. It wasn't a grand vision. It was like, I don't want to wear a suit. Okay. So then I sort of went through in my education. It was it was a wild ride because at one point I was doing business administration. Then I went into literature. Then I went into international relations. So it was obviously somebody who was still trying to figure out what his game plan is.
Okay.
At the same time, in our family, we have a lot of storytellers, and it's a large clan.
Yeah, it's
a large clan. And I think early on, you sort of figured out that if your story wasn't good enough, you'd be drowned out by the noise. So a lot of it also had to do with how well can you tell your story?
Yeah.
How do you package your point of view?
Story.
Right. So I think all of these things were certainly working. And I think there comes a time when you realize that you might love something.
Yeah.
I mean, I was good in, I was good in whatever I did, education-wise. Yeah. But did I love it? So there was a large question mark on that front. And at some point, I realized, well, listen, what I want to do and what's professionally available for me to do were two very separate things. And it took me, I think, 19 years to figure out where that space is. But ultimately, at university, I sort of found out that there was a communion where my interests and the professional world's interests sort of overlapped. And that's where I found my line.
Usually, Faraz, I don't ask a lot of background questions, but like you share your curiosity stories.
Right.
We are also curious to know that how actually it started. The way you said you had a family, a lot of creative people in the family, and and you don't want to wear the tie and suit.
Right.
So, what was the first big breakthrough when you actually realized that fine, this is the way, this is the field, and this is the area which is for me.
It was incremental. It was, I think, when I was a student in Paris. I was living with, we didn't have dorms. So we had to live with a French family.
Yeah.
So I was living with this guy who was a former general of the French army. He was a short, stout, angry man, right? And I had a gorgeous room because you can imagine he was living in the 16th arrondissement. It's a very, very nice part of town. And there was, we had landlines in those, right? There was no mobiles. So I wasn't allowed to use the phone. I paid a small rent. The only thing you had was maybe breakfast. You couldn't have lunch or dinner in the kitchen. So everything was very controlled. So I found a lot of time to myself between the university and this very fancy apartment. Yeah. So I just sort of started writing stuff.
Okay.
And then I realized that, wait a minute, these lines are beginning to rhyme.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, yeah, precise. That was, I'm like, oh. And then they kept rhyming and rhyming. And then there were pages and pages and pages of stuff that ended up, shaping itself into poetry.
Great.
And so I realized that my thoughts are actually surfacing as poems.
Okay.
So that was my high. I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't something I've trained for.
Yeah.
This is something that's happening by itself. So that was sort of the first realization that my bend of mind is very likely towards the letters.
Yeah. And I think the way you were saying it, your past would be like you would have read a lot of books and a lot of literature.
Yeah, like anybody. Anybody. Yeah.
So that's very rare now.
Okay, right. No, you've got to, if you're in advertising, you've got to not just read books, you've got to read everything. Okay. And by the way, I don't think reading has gone down. People say people don't read anything. You're reading you're reading your email, you're doom scrolling and you're reading everything. I mean, people are reading.
Yeah, people are reading.
But it's a quality of text that actually matters. Are you reading the right stuff?
That matters.
Yeah.
Okay. Now tell me about your first commercial win. When you came to Pakistan. After being there in the biggest source of inspiration.
Right.
For the creative inspiration.
Yeah.
And then you came to Pakistan. What was your biggest win that actually turned your skills into the career?
Independently, or when I was
independently.
Independently after my first job.
Yeah, after first job.
So
you did a job, by the way.
Yeah, I was at IL.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually hired as part of the team that was going to launch P&G.
Okay.
In Pakistan.
Okay.
And I would have imagined that at the time, the amazing Nasir Haider, who ran IL for donkey's years, probably thought that, well, this individual is cross-cultural enough for P&G. But I remember the first time I went into the P&G meeting, the guys over there said, aur aapki Urdu kaisi hai? So I said, what? so at that point they realized, oh, wait a minute, this guy's not going to fit into what P&G is. I mean, as far as the American P&G is concerned, I would imagine that I would have been the right fit. Yeah, but it took some convincing and some time to actually sort of become part of the team. So we did Oil of Ulay and Rexona, Head and Shoulders,
the P&G brand.
Because those were the ones that were initially launched. So I think that exposure. That exposure was critical because it's P&G exhausts thinking. So they actually give you a very, very good training ground. It's a wonderful foundation. And anybody who sort of has that kind of foundation, even if it's on the wings, is leagues ahead of a lot of other people. Because, I mean, every single frame has an objective. Imagine. Every single frame
has an objective.
Has an objective.
And the brands you're talking about, Oil of Ulay.
Yeah, there were the big ones that were launched. But because it was a launch, you were really swamped by a lot of pressures, a lot of insights. And you were what? I was 22.
Yeah.
You see, so that kind of exposure, and the brain is still open at 22. You're not sort of petrified with with your biases. Yeah. So all of that was wonderful. But starting off independently was sort of a very slow, incremental thing. It wasn't like we had an investor. It was me and my now late business partner who sort of just jumped the gun and tried to start something up. And I'm still a freelancer in my mind because we started this joint thinking, it's going to shut down after 30 days, and it's been over 30 years now, so it hasn't shut down yet.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and it started off with Sean Bank, which no longer exists.
Sean Bank,
but the story is that we were initially invited to come up with a name for their channel. So the name for their channel was Television.
Television. Oh,
yeah, we're combining it. So they're like, "Oh, this is great. We love it." And can you we have a bank that we're developing. Could you come up with a logo for the bank? So my late business partner asked, "Well, when's the pitch?" and they go, well, it's tomorrow.
Oh.
So overnight, we did the Sean Bank logo, just the one,
Just one logo.
and one, color printout.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
that was it.
That was it.
And then we went in the next day. Everybody was there with their boards, and as you can imagine, how
banks are
agency pitches are. And and that was just sort of sold and resold and rejected and resold and rejected and resold until they believed in our story.
Yeah.
And then once that logo went up at the top of Ayat Chandigarh Road, long story short, we were handing 9 banks. We were handing 9 banks at the same time.
Great.
That's how we started.
So Faraz, it's I think it's not wrong to say that you offered something that wasn't there at that point of time. We are talking about early 90s, I think.
Yeah, a ponytail. I offered a ponytail to the market.
You offered a ponytail. You offered a very good accent.
I did.
and a good English vocabulary.
Right.
Learning.
And well, by the way, I think it was a very small lot. And there were about 3 or 4 of us. No, actually, just 2 or 3 of us who actually had a degree in advertising, because that degree didn't exist in Karachi. I mean, it does now with the media arts and the media sciences. But at that time, there was nobody.
There was nobody. Yeah.
There was nobody. And I remember from my school, we had Musharraf Hai.
Oh.
Yeah, she was from it was known as the School of Public Communication at BU, at Boston University. And then there was this other client of mine, but she did communication with the same school, but she was, on the banking side at Standard Chartered. And the only other person I could think of was Saqib. He had a degree in advertising from Syracuse.
Oh,
yeah, and then there was me. So we didn't have too many.
And you already had a degree in advertising.
But when I graduated, it was a degree in advertising.
Way back.
Yeah, way back.
Okay. Yeah. I'm already thinking that we can talk for hours.
I know. We can.
Okay.
But you can edit this out.
Yeah.
We can edit.
So now tell me about advertising. What actually attracts the clients and the people.
Right.
Is about crazy ideas. Tell me about what was the real crazy idea that made yourself a brand. What one idea you think at that time? Yeah. What stood out in the market?
So to launch us?
Yeah.
So we launched ourselves in a really interesting way. In the days when Friday was a public holiday.
Yeah.
So Thursday would be seen as a weekend.
Yeah.
So there was this pizzeria in Clifton called Shakey's.
Okay.
And it wasn't doing too well. Okay. So the owner sort of asked us, and we weren't an agency, we were just a couple of guys, right? Okay. Said that, how do I get this thing going? And just bear in mind, at the time there was only one channel, maybe NTN, maybe NTM, I'm forgetting. Yeah. Maybe there was another one. Things were very conservative. So it was this wisecrack idea of my business partner. Why don't we turn Shakey's into a disco on the weekends? Yeah, it was. I mean, it's still shocking for you, right? So I'm like, why not? So our job was to create invitation cards for the Thursday night disco at Shakey's, and was by invitation only. So I would actually pull out National Geographic magazines, और उनकी जो तस्वीरें होती थी उसके अंदर, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So I would take pictures out of that. We'd make and typograph the whole thing by hand. Yeah. We would go to the printers at Pakistan Chowk, see how printing would be done. And then we'd probably have about, maybe 50 to 70 cards printed. And then those would be distributed to the people that we wanted to invite. And there was a disco, very private but there was a disco. And then we remember and it was right opposite a mosque, which was sort of scary. So the mosque guy complained. So we invited him. So we invited him. And then of course there was some kind of harassment happening as well by some of these thugs. So we turned them into our bouncers.
Oh my God.
So the thugs became the protectors, but somehow or the other. But the thing wasn't the discotheque. The thing was that we realized that if we get these sort of crazy, wild ads, the invitations look like ads. In fact, one of the headlines was, because of an extreme, so the picture was of some Bantu tribesman, from the National Geographic. And the headline was, due to an adverse language barrier, Pintu Pyong will not be attending our disco. Okay,
Okay,
and then
okay.
Baki Niche Aapke, was the rest of the stuff. So it was this kind of provocative headlines on these black and white invitations that went out to everyone. So everyone was like, what the hell is this?
What is this?
And the whole town came. The whole town came. So one, the pizzeria, of course, took off for as long as it did. But for us, it was always about, let's get the word out. Let's get people
who
knowing.
we are.
Let's get people. So that was the wild and crazy idea that we did for.
I wasn't expecting this. Just right.
For ourselves.
I would love to see the pictures. By the way, if you have any.
I don't know. You see, I have it in my mind, but because this was what? This is 1992, 93.
And this is something,
but maybe it's somewhere. I'll probably have to search through my archives. But those were a great set of invitations.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we launched.
Okay. Now, Faraz, tell me about the Pakistani consumers. You came from a background which was, you're talking about, you started up in Paris in a very privileged room, and then you came to Pakistan. And
we actually grew up in 14 different countries.
Yeah.
Because my father was a career banker, so he was transferred to a lot of places. So so we're known as third culture kids.
Oh yeah, third culture.
Yeah, third culture kids are individuals who are sort of raised in a lot of different environments. It's a very different experience from the immigrant experience, or even the emigre experience. You are literally eating, feeding, playing in the playgrounds of different cultures. So you grow up with a lot of empathy. Yeah, you can pretty much identify with anyone, anywhere.
So Faraz, with all these experiences, then comes Pakistan.
Yeah.
Then comes Pakistan. The consumer, the real consumer,
right.
your battleground was set here.
Yeah.
then tell me, what was the puzzle? You tell us about how did you perceive at that time that now this is how I want to crack this consumers, and that is how I'm going to communicate with them, because your background was very different.
Yeah.
And then comes Pakistan.
Yeah.
So how it works?
So in my mind, given my background, wasn't something that was isolationist in any way.
Yeah.
I say this quite often, that human nature hasn't changed for the last 10 million years, and it's not changing for the next 10 million, right? People are the same anywhere.
Yeah.
Young people are the same anywhere. And your audience literally changes every 100 yards. So you can't see, it's a very multinational thing to do this, that, this is who they are, this is their income group. So I move beyond the psychographic and the demographic. People say, appeal to the lowest common denominator. I've always claimed you should appeal to the deepest common denominator. Go for the heartstrings, go for stuff that actually moves people. And the things that move people are the right combination of words and pictures. That's really the bottom line of our business. And it doesn't really matter whether you're old or young. You could be moved by the right pairing of words and pictures if it's a smart idea. You'd crack up on a joke that a 10-year-old would crack up on. Given your experience, no doubt, but we all react to a movie in the same way, and there is a multitude of age groups sitting in the same cinema hall. So I don't quite know what, when we say, well, did you understand the consumer? You and I are consumers. And I think instead of looking out, we should look in. And if you use those poetic devices of going inside and letting the right truth surface, it will resonate with everyone. It really is that. I don't think there's anything else to it.
So we talk a lot of good things. Now tell me about any disaster story. Any idea, that pull off. Oh no, this is not going to work.
Oh yeah, listen,
something you thought.
Oh no, listen. There's a disaster every 20 minutes. So you don't have to wait for disasters. You are always putting out fires in the advertising industry. I think you know that. You put up events, and there's a disaster every 5 minutes.
Right? So, I'm not going to come. Okay, fine. Okay.
All of that is sort of part and parcel of what we do. I think what I was expecting as the biggest disaster was probably the PIA identity when we did the Markhor. I think one I was surprised by how smoothly it went. Until we got to approval, and as far as the C-suite was concerned, it was done. It was just a matter of time before it was launched. And then the disaster started happening, because it's a very fragile enterprise. There are a lot of it's politicized. There are a lot of egos.
There are a lot of egos.
There's all of that started happening. So the first disaster was that the identity got leaked. into the market. So somebody obviously put that out. When it got leaked, the management was like, well, what do? Either we
do it or not.
Yeah. Do we shut shop on that project, or do we just sort of say, yeah, this is it? Yeah. And instead of saying, because an identity should be launched once everything is fixed. Okay. You don't sort of launch it beforehand. The identity is the crowning glory of all the work that you've done to make the airline, fly again, quote unquote. So they're like, well, maybe what we can do is sort of show that this is our vision. And we'll work towards the branding.
Because it was well thought, I think.
Yeah, and it flew for 6 months.
Yeah,
it was. But then the problem is that it got politicized.
I got it.
And that was sort of the disasters that I saw, that when things get politicized, it can get really ugly.
Because I think there were some pieces we thought of that I think that should come afterwards. Because being in communication...
everything should have come afterwards. You should fix the airline first. Then you have the identity. But this was the way that whoever they were, they succeeded in sort of making sure that didn't fly. And then it went into, I think it's the only identity in the world that was debated in the Supreme Court of any country in the world. You see,
you have a lot of
right. So identities don't do that. Logos shouldn't be debated in the Supreme. I mean, the Supreme Court of this country should be working on jurisprudence.
I'm sure
not logos.
A lot of political.
There we go. But that's all that happened. Yeah.
So tell me something about the industry that you've been here for so long. That someone insiders only know.
Right.
Nobody talks about loud. We want to hear you something. What's about our Pakistan marketing and advertising industry? Something that people should know, but no one talk about it.
But no one wants to talk about it. You won't like what I'm about to say. I
would love to.
You run an award show, so you won't like it.
No, you can, because this is this is a separate thing, and you can tell it.
Well, I think the first myth is thinking that awards lead to business. They don't.
Oh, okay. It's come out of a person who have won already a lot of awards. I think. Okay.
Awards don't do anything. Relationships do everything. Okay. The merits of your work do everything. And I think the curation of your current client base and where you can take them is the route to business. But sort of showing shiny, happy things. Yeah, they're great for the ego. They're great for networking. They're great to bring the community together. They're great to sort of trumpet our being, right? But but they don't get you business.
You think that substance matter?
Well, obviously,
substance actually matters, and
obviously,
and there are a lot of awards happening here. And that's something.
So that's one thing. The second thing is probably sort of blaming clients for your work. That's the other thing. You know how we say clients deserve the work they get. And they say that with a whole bunch of things, people blame it on the client. Ultimately, I think it's your responsibility.
So you think the frustration of clients is right nowadays? They're like, there are a lot of clients are, they don't trust the agencies the way they used to do.
That's a tricky question. No, I think it depends on so many factors.
Yeah.
One, it depends on the client side. Now, on the client side, there are many client voices.
Yeah.
There's no single client, right? So the client is the voice that matters.
Yeah.
Okay. But all the other voices might just be sort of gatekeepers or nuisance makers or delayers or what have you. The client voice is the voice that matters.
Yeah.
And of course, there is a background and a nature to that.
Yeah.
Is that client voice somebody who is a risk taker? It's very unlikely. It's very unlikely because normally the people who are the risk takers are the owners of the brand.
Yeah.
So when I see myself as a founder's creative because I've worked with a lot of founders.
Yeah.
And those are amazing experiences. And they're amazing because founders have an appetite for risk. They can say, let's go there.
Let's do it.
Let's go there. Yeah. But when founders hire individuals to look out for their marketing, there's a naturally inbuilt aversion to risk. So a lot of people who are sort of the, torchbearers of great advertising, our brand managers, unfortunately from brand managers, they become bland managers. They don't sort of push the envelope enough. And I don't blame them for it because I think people are naturally risk averse. So that's the other issue. That don't blame the client ever. I think you're the person responsible for bringing the magic.
The magic. Okay. Now we are entering, into first we entered into a digital era.
Yes.
Now we are entering into AI era.
Yes, we are. Yes.
I don't know where we go after that, but tell me about what's new, what's exciting, what's threatening for the marketeers here.
So look, there will always be tools that will be coming our way, and I think we should welcome them. Certainly at our agency, we do. We love AI for its efficiencies, for its ability to save us so much time. So
a lot of research work can be done here.
A lot of all that can sort of be done. It could be a good. I know that you have to do the prompting, but it can also prompt you back for you to sort of start thinking it the right way. So as long as you treat it as a smart assistant, you're on your way to dealing intelligently with AI. I often say that the AI might give you the first draft as long as you have the last word.
Oh,
right. If that's the dynamic, I think you're in a good place.
You're in a good place.
These tools are amazing.
These tools are amazing.
These tools are amazing.
You think that this work will become fast and people will adopt to it like?
Weirdly enough, I think it's probably an inverse situation. I think if you are dedicating a lot of time to AI, you might just get caught up in a jungle of prompts.
Oh, yeah.
And that might actually be tiring or exhausting for you after a while. Yeah. And you might realize that, wait a minute, why don't I just do it the old-fashioned way? Why don't I just come up with an idea?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that dynamic will also come. So like everything else, I think AI will find its place in the larger paradigm. Yeah. And I think people will know how to work with it.
Have you ever seen a campaign and aapne bola yaar, how did this get approved?
Because it was good or because it was bad?
It was bad.
Because it was. But that's most of advertising. Most of advertising is very mediocre. Mind you, most of everything is mediocre.
Right.
Do you know that story? Okay. But do you know that story? I think some ad agency made it. There's a story about the architecture community inviting the advertising community to a cocktail party. So they invited them. And then they're all sort of mingling, and all the architects were asking these ad guys, "Hey, did you make that? Did you make that Apple ad, 1984 or what have you?" And they're like, "No, I didn't." And they're like, "Oh, did you make that Honda ad with the parts of the car sort of coming together?" Okay. So they were all mentioning really famous ads. So the advertising guys got really upset. So they threw a party for the architects to sort of come in. So then they invited the architects. And then they sort of took their revenge. Okay. And they're like, "Oh, so did you make the Empire State Building?" They're like, "No." "Did you make the Eiffel Tower?" They're like, "No." The point is that most of the work that we do is ordinary.
Okay, it's
right.
Mediocre.
Yeah, it's ordinary brands. It's not the Empire State Buildings or the Burj Khalifas or the Apple. It's ordinary day-to-day stuff that ordinary day-to-day people manufacture.
Okay.
That's the meat and potatoes of the industry. Every now and then, you get that ray of light, which sort of motivates and inspires a whole community. But most of the work generally is. So. But of course, you need to cheer the guys who are breaking from the norm. So, 90% of banking is ordinary. 99% of banking is ordinary. 99% of architecture is ordinary. How many incredible houses have you seen coming and going from your house? You get my point, right?
Yeah.
But we get a lot of flack because we are extremely visible. That's our problem. We are an extremely visible industry, so everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
But we are just as good or bad as anybody else.
Okay.
If you think about it, right?
Okay. Now, coming back to the question, if you have to rebrand Pakistan, if it were a product, I just wanted to know what potential it has.
Yeah.
What the tagline would be, what the feature you want to highlight to the world.
But do you know that we have rebranded Pakistan? Are you familiar with that?
No.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. So we've actually done the destination brand for Pakistan. And it is currently at the PTDC, waiting to be launched. It was commissioned by Imran Khan's government. and the ribbon cutting was done by the current government.
Okay.
And that brand actually exists. The question, of course, is that does the government have the funding to push that brand out into the market? Because there's no point advertising to yourself. That brand has to sort of go out.
Go out and attract people.
Right. So that brand is called Salam Pakistan.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's the only logotype that I've seen, at least, that could be read simultaneously in Urdu and English at the same time.
Okay.
If you read it from left to right, it's in English. And if you read it from right to left, it's in Urdu. It's the same sign.
That makes me really excited when I go somewhere around the world and see that I love Phuket.
Yes.
I love welcome to New York.
Amazing Thailand.
Amazing Thailand.
Malaysia.
Truly Asia.
Right. Absolutely incredible Asia.
Pakistan has all the potential to do
more than anyone.
More than anyone.
Because
of diversity.
That's what it is.
Great. And people like you who can present it in a great way that,
I don't know about that. No, but we have it. We have that brand.
So now there's a segment which is called a MadFire Round.
Okay.
I'm going to ask some questions very speedy, and then you have to answer those questions.
All right, done.
Allow me to do it.
Okay, you got it. You got
so, one Pakistani brand currently doing great work.
You see, that's a trick question, and I won't be able to answer it.
Oh, Faraz.
No, I'll tell you why. Because given where we are, I think all Pakistani brands are trying to do their best work.
Okay.
I fundamentally believe that. Okay. You might get the odd sort of zinger, which is like, hey, this is mind-blowing. But, there was this one ad, and I don't know who that copywriter was, but I sort of saw that ad on the expressway behind Imtiaz, Korangi Expressway.
Yeah.
So you know that route. It's sort of very solitary. There was nothing there. So I saw this billboard. And it was the only one of its kind. And this was years ago when the whole WikiLeaks things was happening. So imagine, I still remember that line. And it was for an unknown sanitary napkin.
Oh yeah. WikiLeaks, but this doesn't.
WikiLeaks, we don't.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
We see now, that's a caliber of writing and sort of bravado and risk-taking that every creative should aspire to. I don't know who that kid was, but whoever he was, may you live for 1,000 years, because that's the kind of energy we need. Is any brand doing that kind of work consistently? No. But every brand wants to do the best for themselves. Nobody wants to sort of say, hey, we're going to do mediocre work. I think mediocre work happens just because of the dynamics of playing it safe. So I think we have to be kinder when it comes to something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question: creativity or data?
Well, obviously it's creativity, because see, data will tell you what's happened.
Yeah.
Creativity will tell you what's going to happen.
Okay.
You see, that's the distinction. So. And then again, this is something I've said in so many podcasts, and it's probably getting boring now. But use big data to make your small decisions. But use your gut to make the big decision. Okay. So obviously the whatever your neurological makeup is, you need to use creativity to power the future. It can't come from data.
One marketing buzzword you dislike?
Disruption.
Disruption.
Spare me from disruption. Yeah, absolutely.
Most underrated marketing skill today?
Being able to present well.
Okay.
Being able to, I think, every agency should have a presenter.
Okay.
You need to have a sort of designated presenter. Somebody who could sort of help the idea come alive. And that's because I consider presenting sort of part of craft.
Okay.
It's part of craft. So, how they used to say that 50% is your concept and 50%. What they used to say was, if your idea is 80% good on a cardboard, it will sell. Okay. That's no longer true. Now, 50% is your idea, 50% is the craft, the manner in which it is produced. I think today what they say is 80% idea, 80% craft. Now, 160% means nothing, but what it points to is that it is so important for people to be able to deliver the concept well. And the simple allegory is people who are telling a joke. Like 5 people could tell the same joke, but only one person will make it sound funny.
Sound funny, yeah.
So that's craft.
That's craft. And you have to learn that craft.
People should know how to be able to do that. Otherwise, the best ideas can sort of drown when it's not, when you don't help it come alive in front of your client.
One mistake you think young marketers do?
In what respect?
In their careers.
What mistake? Young marketers. How young? How young?
Someone who has just started.
Someone who's just started? Yeah, I think retiring within 20 days of joining a job. I think I think you need to give yourself, give yourself some time.
Some resilience.
Just a little bit.
You have to like your boss.
You can't just sort of take off. You can't just sort of take off the moment you start.
Tea or coffee during
Obviously, we're Pakistanis.
Coffee.
Tea, really? Yeah, of course, I'm a big tea person.
Okay. One ad you wish you had created.
Local? No, not local. Any ad. Apart from the WikiLeaks one. There's so many going through my mind right now. It's an unfair question.
I think it's good to hear.
I sort of loved.
What inspires you is like something like
when the Mac came out, I remember calling my dad from Boston and saying, "Listen, I want to get myself a Mac computer and everything else," and it had a colored dot matrix printer and everything else. And that was because we all sort of saw the 1984 commercial by Apple. And that sort of lives in my mind. It lives in my mind, because it's a great concept. Secondly, it was based on literature. You see, it was based on literature. And when you sort of dig into literature, you find that anything that anyone has ever felt has been written about. All your insights are packed into the great books. And if you sort of bother reading them, you would be flushed with a very seasoned mind. So you don't need to do dumbass focus groups,
Okay, that's lovely.
So I enjoyed that because one, there was a literary provenance to it, and I loved it also because it was the launch of the Mac. It was beautifully shot. It was epic in scale. It spoke to the times. That's an ad that anybody would have loved to do, no doubt.
So places inspire that you work in some place that's what city in Pakistan you think that is great for creativity? A Karachi, hustle, or like the creativity of Lahore? Which place you think suits?
Well, I think the short answer to that is it should be Karachi hustle for Lahori aesthetic. I think that would be a great way to phrase that. Although you're stereotyping both cities, I think the only city that matters is the city you live in your mind. That's a city that should be awake and wild and useful. And as a creative person, you carry your office and your home up here. So that's where you
read a lot, you write a lot.
Yeah, you got to. You have to.
Do you watch movies?
Oh yeah, lots. I'm not getting enough time because you need to sort of you can't watch movies like an episode, right? It should be a singular experience. But if I have the time, certainly, and I weirdly enough, given the amount of times that I travel out, I find myself watching, like especially if it's to Dubai, right? I find myself watching half the movie on my way in and the other half on the way out. And I think a lot of people probably do that. But I think the plane is the time that I end up watching films. On Netflix, it's probably episodes because that's a good 30 to 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
So that's sort of doable. But otherwise, going down to the cinema over here, I haven't. It's been the longest time. Haven't had a chance. Haven't had a chance.
That's very unlucky. Cinematic experience is great.
Right. Right.
So now tell me, if your career or you were a movie, what would be the title?
What would be the title?
What would be the title?
Oh God, you ask tough questions. See, only vulgarities are coming. Only vulgarities are coming in the mind. You remember that Mel Gibson movie, What Women Want?
Oh yeah.
I think that was a great advertising, the sort of platform. Maybe that. or maybe still in post-production.
Yeah,
I don't know.
still in
Maybe-
post-production,
Maybe
yeah.
that. I don't know.
It's great to have you, Faraz.
Yeah, thank you.
We
Thank
can
you.
talk a lot.
We can. This can go on, right?
This is something, a discussion that can go on and on and on. And I love to, it's a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We can continue this at some
Yeah.
other point.
Thank you very much for being
You're
a
very
part
welcome.
of
Thank you for
MadTalks
having me.
today.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you.